And like I said, it was really some great funny stuff right there. That was pretty funny. But in my eyes, of the DC versus Marvel crossover, it was, to me, the whole concept was a bit biased because there were certain writers that were doing the fights, so maybe they were pro Marvel and pro DC. A lot of the fights you voted, the fans would vote, and whoever voted, that's who would win. You know, certain things like that. You know, that really, I couldn't really enjoy the battles. But even still, in my eyes, and this is just me personally, guys, I don't like seeing heroes fighting each other. I really don't. I never really understand the concept of that. My eyes of looking at it is, why are these guys fighting? And in this, it was the battle for survival. I understand that, no problem. But then there are certain fights where you're just like, when these heroes are in their own universe and they're battling, and I don't like that. I don't like that, period. Even if it's a hero I don't like, I hate with a passion. You know, I might hate, and hate's a strong word, guys, but I didn't really, I mean, I have the whole collection of the Marvel versus DC crossover, even when they merged some of the heroes together, their comics like Wolverine and Batman came together and they became Dark Claw, stuff like that. But other than that, pretty decent. But I just don't really get into the whole concept of battling heroes versus heroes sometimes. Another crossover would definitely have to be, and Ass Kicker did a big panel, big 4-part, I believe, video on this, would have to be JLA and the Avengers. Two great teams from both universes coming together. I mean, of course they battled for a while, but in the end they come together. Please check out Kicker's his video on this. It was just great. It took the likings of Cap and Bruce to see that, why are we fighting each other? You know, there's something wrong with this. So it was, I'm not really going to get into too much details, and I'm sorry to ramble on about some of these, but it's just how I feel about some of these. It was just a great crossover. Very, very well done. Artwork by the great George Perez, beautiful. One of my favorite artists. Just beautiful work. Another crossover that I don't think a lot of people may remember, but I sure do, and I have it, and would have to be the original Star Trek, Captain Kirk, Starfleet, and the X-Men coming together. This was a very interesting, beautiful artwork though. But in this crossover we see it's the Starfleet, you know, Captain Kirk, Spock, you know, Scotty, all of those. Crossover with Wolverine, Bishop, Cyclops, Jean, you know, and you should have seen it. They came into Starfleet, or in Shi'ar space, and they look on the monitor and Gladiator is watching them, and he literally punches the Enterprise, and even I believe it was Spock or Bones or one of them that said it. He says, I don't believe he's actually going to punch it, and he punches this, and the whole ship just goes into orbit. It was great. They fought the Brood, if I remember correctly, because it's been a long time since I read that comic. But also, Spock does the Vulcan neck pinch, you know, the traditional pinch to Wolverine. Wolverine gets back up like, what the hell was that? And it was amazing. Spock, the look on, the way they drew it, the look on Spock's face was like interesting. Wow, it was interesting that usually somebody would have been down for a long time after that. But that was another great crossover I really enjoyed. Another great crossover I really enjoyed was the new Avengers and the original Transformers. Just I really enjoyed this. You know, the New Avengers, which was residing of Steve Rogers, Cap, Luke Cage, Falcon was on that, Ms. Marvel, Wolverine, Iron Man, and Spidey, and they get together with the Autobots, Optimus Prime and Ratchet, Jazz, Ironhide, and Bumblebee, all those great, and they combine together to fight Megatron, and in some ways Doctor Doom, because that's where it takes place in Latveria. Just a great 4-part issue that I really enjoyed. We got to see Iron Man getting this huge armor and fight, I think it was Megatron. I'm not sure. I might, because once again, I haven't read this comic since it came out, and I usually do go back to read my comics. So this was very interesting. I really enjoyed New Avengers Transformers crossover. Another crossover would definitely have to be between the Man Without Fear, Daredevil, Matt Murdock, and Bruce. These two coming together were just very, very interesting to me, because once again, at first they did fight, you know, at first, but they put their differences aside to battle the common enemy in this. And like I said before, guys, I'm not really big on heroes fighting other heroes, but it's always good to see them come together in the end to fight a common goal. You know, it started off, you know, Scarecrow coming to New York. He asks Catwoman to get a certain, I think, files on the Kingpin or something like that, if I can remember correct. Oh man, it's kind of hard remembering some of this stuff, but I hope I'm doing a pretty good job in telling you the plots. And Daredevil's watching this as well as Batman, and Batman tries to intervene. Bruce tries to intervene, and Daredevil comes in to stop him because he wants it to go down as well to get his case, you know. Unfortunately, they do come together, and you know, the hero triumphs, you know, as usual. But that's another great crossover, because in some ways Batman is like, even though I hear a lot of people say Daredevil is just a rip-off of Batman, I don't agree with that. Because in my eyes, Batman is like Daredevil. He is the Daredevil in some way of the DC universe. They do sometimes, I hear a lot of people call him the Man Without Fear sometimes too. So it was always good to see it was always great to see these guys come together. You know, just always good to see these guys come together. Another crossover is X-Men and Wildcats. You know, / team up / crossover, because but it was basically a 4-parter. And it went from X-Men Wildcats Golden Age to Dark Age. And in the Golden Age comic, we saw it took place in Nazi Germany, so hence World War II, and we saw Wolverine teaming up, and it was cool because we saw Wolverine, you know, he had the claws, but it was a claws that he had to slip on. Like if anybody remembers the X-Men episode where you saw him and Cap team up, and you saw him putting on those like claw-like climbing gear. That's what he used in that. And he teams up with Zelek to find a certain artifact that the Nazis had. And it was really interesting, really cool. And then in the I think the Silver Age X-Men Wildcats, we saw the original X-Men. I think they were in Peru. I believe on vacation or something like that, and we just seeing the formation of Wildcats. So we saw Case Cole's, aka Grifter, in jail. He gets hired by Nick Fury to go on assignment. And the funniest thing is, in the jail, his Grifter's cellmate is Gambit. So it's before he joined the X-Men. So it was cool to see that too. And in this one, we saw Jean teaming up with Grifter. And they have a good moment together at one point. But other than that was good. And then the modern, we saw the real, both teams come together. And then in the Dark Age, we saw a future version of them come together.